Donnie was not much for emotions. Not that he didn't have any, but it was hard to open up to people. He didn't feel like talking, even now when he had all his nightmares again with Shredder almost ripping his shell open again. Good thing Raph was there. Your Name was his best friend. Much like him, they didn't open up much either. They seemed to keep most of their emotions in check. But from what they hear from their twin, they are a crybaby, which makes some sense to Donnie since they tend to be a hard ass. But anyway, Your Name was good at not bugging Donnie about his emotions. And Donnie liked that. Later that night, he could feel the cold hard metal, sharp and cold and painful. It had warm liquid coming down it, and Donnie quickly realized that it was blood. His blood, and it was pouring out of his shell. He could feel the pain-filled scream he was yelling as he could feel flesh ripping open and cut on his shell, and he couldn't help but cry. He cried for everyone, even his papa, but no one came this time. Never this time. Then he woke up with a scream again, but this time, Your Name! He woke up with a shout. Sitting up quickly, he felt his back best he could. Feeling that he was fine, he breathed out as tears fell down his face and his hands. Your Name, he whispered. What is it, Softshell? He jumped up and looked quickly over, seeing Your Name on the chair and looking at Donnie from their place on top of a small part of his bed. Your Name? How? When? He couldn't think straight right now. When did they even get in his room? The slider told me that he was worried about you, so he asked me if I could come in and check on you in the night, so I watched over you. You talk a lot in your sleep. They had their arms crossed the whole time, almost like they were annoyed. Leo, he asked you? They nod. You have been waking up the whole lair with your screaming, and knowing you, they would know that you wouldn't want any of them for their help. So they picked me. They looked at him knowingly. They deadpanned both in speech and in expression. Much like himself, but right now it made him want to cry. And are you annoyed with having to check on me? He asked with a sort of quiet rage. No, I have no idea why you would think that. Donnie quickly looked at them. Well, you sound so into the idea. He scoffed at them. They just blinked. Of course I'm interested in what is going on. They looked at him like it was the most obvious thing in the world. Well, don't be, because I don't want to talk about it. He turned over and covered himself with a blanket. He wanted to cry. I think you do want to talk about it, but you're being so stubborn. Now that was annoyance. He knew it anywhere. Well, excuse me if I don't feel like talking or not. But I don't want to talk about it to an asshole right now. He yelled, but never turned around. Then why did you cry out for me in your sleep? He stopped breathing. It was caught up in his throat. He blushed so brightly he thought he would be dizzy from it. I did not. You're just hearing shit. He could hear the sound of a chair creaking like someone was getting up. He suddenly felt warmth covering his hand in the area near his face. He quickly looked up to see Your Name hovering over him with a calm expression. Then why did you whisper for me after you woke up? You know I have good hearing, I say calmly. Look, I know you don't like to talk about your feelings or show weakness, but if you're hurting or if you're crying alone in your room, it's gonna bother me. Donnie blushed. He never heard them say things like that before. He teared up as well. I never said anything because I wanted you to tell me on your own, but I guess you're being really stubborn this time. He really started to cry this time, and he couldn't hide the tears from them. I'm scared. Your Name. I'm so scared. Your Name wiped his tears with their finger, waiting for him to finish. I dream about my shell being ripped open and so much blood. I hate it that I'm scared. I don't want to be a burden on anyone or be weak. I want to take care of myself without anybody thinking I'm a baby fawn. He cried now, full on sobbing. Your Name let him cry it out. without saying anything. They bent down and gave him a hug best they could with the small space. They held his head. "I'm sorry," he sobbed. "Don't ever be sorry for feeling, Donnie. Don't ever be sorry, you hear me?" Donnie never thought he would hear your name call him Donnie. Donnie slightly blushed at it, already liking it. He nods. "It's alright to be scared. It's okay to cry your heart out when you can't hold it in any longer. I don't think you're weak, and no one else does either. They are your family, and they worry about your well-being. It's only natural after all, right?" Donnie nods. "Even your friends. I worry about you too, and I'm not annoyed. Don't ever think I'm not annoyed by you, or your well-being, because then I really will get annoyed." They deadpanned at the last part. Donnie couldn't help but chuckle at that. "I won't let anything ever happen to you again, okay? If you need me to be around even when you sleep, I'll stay up all night and watch you." They smile, but Donnie yelled back, "No, you need to sleep, your name. What the hell?" He yelled, and your name laughed, like actually laughed. Oh God, Donnie, calm down. Why are they being so damn cute? "I don't need sleep. Me and my sibling don't need to sleep. At least not as much as you guys." They laughed. "I don't mind. Really, I don't." Donnie blushed. "Why are you blushing?" "Well, it's not just something people like, really. I talk in my sleep." "I know, Donnie." There it is again. "I used to spend the night a lot with you here. Even when you were younger, you would talk in your sleep. It was quite cute, actually." Donnie stuttered that time and tried to get away, but your name was currently pinning him to the bed in a way, and the bed was too damn small. "I am not." "Whatever you say, Softshell." He pouted. He really liked it when they called him by his name. "Why are you pouting now, Softshell?" Donnie looked away. "Don't call me Softshell." "What's wrong with Softshell?" Donnie didn't look at them. "That's what you call everyone when you're not close with them. The only ones you call by name are your brother and sister. Well, and of course your twin. You even call April human." Your name blinked. "So would you rather I call you Donnie?" "Yes!" He covered his mouth. My, how cute are you being right now?" They ghosted over his ear. "I am not cute, and why are you acting like this?" Donnie groaned loudly. "I'll call you Donnie, but I think I prefer my Softshell." Donnie blushed and tried to get away again, but your name pinned him to the bed this time. Donnie was now facing them. He was blushing and trying to cover his face, but your name held his hands over his head. "Don't do that. I want to see your face. You don't usually make faces like this in front of other people. I like being the only one that you open up to." Donnie turned his head since he couldn't cover his face. "You're the only one I'll ever open up to like this anyway, dum-dum," he said, frowning like he was angry. "Good, my little sunflower," they said. "Donnie," he looked up. "What?" "Don't ever be sorry. Don't be scared to come to me or think you're a burden on people. We love you. We all love you. I love you." Donnie gasped. Did he hear that right? "You mean..." He teared up. Your name grabbed his hand and placed it over their heart, and he could feel their heart beating loudly against their ribcage. "You drive me crazy, you know." They smile. Donnie blushed, tearing up. Again. "You're such a crybaby." Your name leaned down and kissed his lips. It was gentle, while holding so much meaning. Donnie made a noise and ghosted over his lips with a hush, going right back in. When it seemed like forever, they let go of his hands and Donnie covered his arms over their neck in a hug to deepen the kiss. "Your name," he whispered. Your name stopped looking at him. "What?" Donnie smiled back shyly. "I love you too, and thank you." Your name's eyes widened. They blushed a deep crimson color and frowned their brow, covering their mouth. Donnie stopped, blinking at the sight in front of him. You idiot. Donnie laughed. What's so damn funny, Donnie? They growled. I say I love you, and your confident persona just leaves your body. I'm starting to think you really are a crybaby like your twin said. Your Name shouted. I am not. They lie. I don't think so. Your Name tries to leave the bed now, and Donnie grabs her hand and lays them down. Please stay. They growl, but kiss them on the lips anyway. Fine. Whatever. They pull the blankets up and cover Donnie for the most part. Don't need you catching a cold. After all, they say morons get sick more. They deadpanned. Aw, how sweet, Your Name. Thanks. He giggled. Your Name blushed. Thank you. Really, Your Name. He smiled at them. Your Name gave him a small smile back. You're welcome, Donnie. Donnie kissed them. I love you. They huffed out a laugh. Love you too, my soft shell. Donnie couldn't help but roll his eyes, but he smiled knowing he would have no more nightmares to come.